the type of violence that is the primary concern of this particular lecture. What this implies is that violence only occurs when group of persons intentionally or deliberately deploy force or power against a person or groups of persons. This way, violence contradistinguishes significantly with injury or harm that is caused by unintended actions or incidents. Let me explain this. When you fall down and get wounded, maybe you are moving and then you slide. There's an element of violence in that process. But this violence is different from the one that we're talking about. You slide there because you never intended to slide. But in the violence that we are trying to bring our attention to, you go out to deliberately inflict that violence on the person you consider to be your victim, or the first person you consider to be an opponent. Now, you are trying to subjugate the person to your whims and caprice. So you use maximum violence. When the military talks about they are going to use force, you go out demonstrating over maybe fuel price, bomb price increase, they deploy the military to either flog you, hit you with gun, whatever. Some violence is that they want to compel you to leave the street against your wish. Next slide. There is a sense in which, next slide, okay. There is a sense in which violence implicates security. This now brings us to the security realm, because we are looking at two things: history of violence and then security dynamics. There is a sense in which violence implicates security, which we must note. For example, the persistence of violence or violent acts is a direct affront and therefore a threat to peace and security. Security here implies guaranteeing the material condition for sustainable living. It is the presence of sustainable peace under which the pursuit of the prime purpose, under which the pursuit of the prime purpose of existence is guaranteed. If you don't have peace, if your peace is threatened, it means your security is endangered. So the absence of peace itself suggests insecurity. And so when you look at, if you relate that to violence, you then observe that beyond even physical force, okay, when your economic situation gets so bad that you cannot feed yourself, it threatens peace. And you can see that in what is happening, not just in Nigeria, but in other parts of the world. One is therefore considered secure when there is optimal safety, when there is good health, when there is sustainable livelihood, when there is education, employment, and you can feed yourself in order to live for the next day and when you are psychologically alive. Now, this definition of security tends to de-emphasize security as the acquisition of hardware, which is what at some point state power emphasizes. There is a sense in which a country can have all the hardware, but if its citizens can't feed, you cannot say that that country is secure. Because you may have hardware, but that does not translate into peaceful existence. And because the absence of peaceful existence, which economic empowerment can guarantee, will automatically threaten the peace of the country. So in foreign relations, they say the foreign policy of the country is a reflection of both the domestic environment and the external environment. The domestic environment essentially speaks to the well-being of the citizens of the country in terms of their capacity to be able to take care of themselves, even for the most basic things like feeding, having affordable accommodation, and then be in the position to make decisions that impact directly on their lives. Move on. Next slide. Security, therefore, becomes the absence of the conditions that threaten human life and human progress. When there is the absence of all those things that will disempower a human being to a point where he feels so insecure, you can say that that person is secure because the person can take decisions about what affects him or her. Where violence is the order of the day, it generates fear and anxiety, it creates pain and agony, and consequently imperils safety and security. That is the connection between security and